Well, hello and welcome to today's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. And y'all, today we're diving straight in. We're going to be talking about the crystalline light body. We're going to be talking about the path of awakening your higher consciousness. Um, it's Avalina Maline. Is it Maline? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Avalina Maline. I want to make sure I pronounce it correctly. Um, oh, she came to me as a referral from other speakers that were in, and she knew of the show, and where she reached out to me. I knew that we needed to connect. I had a session with her, which I'm trying to recall, but I think so much shifted between then and now. Um, and we were just talking about it. It's like it doesn't even matter anymore. Like the past, and the important part was the resolution. That's the story of the resolution, or what was expanding and all that. But what I was aware of is her capacity to really tune in, to be with me, and not only she reading my field, but facilitating that light body within me to be in my own consciousness, that light, Christos energy as well, and an activation and illumination takes place from there. So, as an intuitive channel and an awakened multi-dimensional guide, um, she's just here to offer us on Beyond the Ordinary so much wisdom and transmission and deeper understanding of some of the mechanics that we are experiencing, a lot of the words that we use, but I'm really grateful that Evelina's here to provide a little more context, because with that context and understanding, we can expand even more into what's available. And I know we're going to get into Q&A. We'll probably get into some type of transmission. But for the time being, Evelina, welcome to the show. Thank you for being on.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction and thank you for having me here. I'm very excited to share and explore.
So give us your version, not mine, of how it is that you work with clients, what it is that they show up for, and what you witness shifts in them after your work together.
hmm well, I mostly, as you said, I tuning into the energy and what is prevalent in the forefront, and often it's not always what we think. And so I, feel into the person. I can feel into their words, to their voice, to all of it, and you know, pretty much bring, I can connect to their higher self and bring forth the insight that is, needed for the moment. And then I also work in a way with, with an energy transmission, usually with each client, where I'll do, tone, I work a lot with toning, light language, clearing, and that happens in a multitude of different ways. So each time is unique, and whatever is for the highest and best for that person to receive is usually what takes place. So that's kind of how I work now on a one-on-one. But it's sometimes we do breath. It's an ever evolving you know life, right? So yeah, it's always changing.
Always changing.
Yeah.
What do you see as the before and afters after someone's worked with you?
Um, the clarity, really, right?
Mhm.
Like it's the clarity of getting a bigger lens of perception, and often it's hard to do that for yourself, right? Like it's easy to see what's going on in other people, but when it comes to yourself, because we only have one lens of perception, right? And we see that with that everything through that same lens. So, a greater sense of clarity of what it is, where I'm at, what I'm moving through. And then, if we're able to go in and release some energy together, then that healing can take place. But ultimately, it's, depending on the person, whether they're ready, right? It's definitely a personal journey. So, yeah, it's just meeting you exactly where you're at.
Okay, I want to get into some of these terms first and some of these expressions, but you said something that's compelling to me, and I want to bring awareness to it also, because you say, someone can come to you if they're ready, or they can show up for the
Mhm.
work, but if they're ready.
Yeah.
How does someone know if they're ready or not?
Um, well, you don't
Because
really.
what happens a lot of times is like I could show up for one thing, but then something else appears. I thought my mind was going down one trajectory and give me relief or understanding or clarity here. And then it just kind of takes me in another. another thread that becomes available. And sometimes I receive it with a big open heart, but sometimes I'm really resistant to like I don't want to hear that necessarily, but okay. Um, how can we show up as clients with the readiness? And does the readiness consciously always translate into a readiness subconsciously or spiritually?
Well, I always look at it as the intention, right? Like if you
Mm,
have the intention for your path and you're devoted to the embodiment, then you're gonna everything's gonna come in divine perfect timing. So you just have to trust that as long as you have a calling for something and you show up, whatever takes place is exactly what needs to take place.
mhm. That's
I mean, we're
beautiful.
all on a need to know basis, right? And
Hmm.
so we're never really going to understand, right? Our mind's never going to really understand what's taking place and what needs to take place. But if we trust and trust in our hearts, you know, then we essentially are ready. I mean, we're always ready.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
sometimes when we have a resistance, it takes a little time. It takes a little time to unravel that and be like, okay, I am ready to let that go.
Hmm.
And that's okay. There's no rush, right? So,
Sometimes we're ready just
yeah,
to let pieces of it go and not the whole thing.
exactly,
And that's
right.
appropriate as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm. It's really
exactly.
important that we bring context to this as well, because again, there's terms that are thrown out and they're used generically sometimes, and it kind of stops
Mhm.
people
Yeah,
and puts them in the mental loop. And you so eloquently put it, and I'll just break it down. It's just a willingness to show up,
right.
and that's the readiness. And then whatever happens from there, we'll know. Again,
Yeah.
we're making it up as we go, but it's showing up for us as we take each step, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into talk to us about the light body. What is your interpretation of the light body, how we work with it, how it affects
Mhm.
us, and how we can really become more aware so that we can be more in a graceful fluidity with it rather than kind of crashing and bumping up against things because we hear so many terms and processes that we're supposed to be doing that
Yeah.
sometimes we miss the forest through the trees, right?
Right, right. And it can be confusing, right? Because we hear all these topics and then I get a lot of people like, well, what do I do? I don't know what to do. I meditate, but then, what do I focus on? And then we sort of get tied up into like overthinking, right?
Mhm.
So when we can kind of like get our mind on board, then what we're actually doing, then we start to remember, right? We start to remember that we already know, each one of
Mhm.
us, right? We start connecting to that truth. So the way I see it and the way I perceive the light body and is it's obviously it's an energetic field, right, of the way our consciousness sort of shines through the holographic template which allows us to experience this physical reality, right? So we all have a light body, it's just in different degrees of expression, right? So, and it's directly tied into like the kundalini process, right? Because they're all one and the same, right? So when we think of our journey here, we're like, the journey of embodiment, right? It's like that simultaneous increase of consciousness, but it's also a descension of our higher self into our physical body, sort of that like that marriage of spirit, right? And that begins through the process of like kundalini awakening at the base of our spine, right? And moves up the central column and begins the stages of like the rainbow body, right? So it's an intricate process of like all these trinity waves, right, that move up the spine, and there's interwoven electromagnetic frequencies, and they're all basically light and sound waves, right? And they activate the higher degrees of the light body, right? That inner spark of plasma, which is the plasma light of Christ consciousness. And this is where we become crystalline, right? Christ-like, right? So the Trinity waves light up our light body through the central column, and we expand and we become a pillar basically of Christ's light. So, you know, the light body expands, right? These electromagnetic frequencies, and they hold all of our records, all of our identities throughout time, right? And it maintains our direct connection to our higher self and source. So, a person's light body, you can, it really represents like the state of being of of all of their bodies, their spiritual functioning, and it's reflected through how a person thinks and behaves and acts, right? And the quality and size is related to like their level of health and their spiritual connection that they have access to at any given moment. So it's really interesting because it's all regulated too by our nervous system. It's directly connected to our nervous system, and they function together like a communication link, a circuitry board, right? And that's how we grow our electromagnetic field. We grow our light, right? So the kundalini, is that stimulating that higher prana, which is the same thing as light, chi, that rises, right? It's life force energy. It's essentially the feminine energy drawn up the spine and up to the brain, and then it begins to expand through the nervous system. And this is also what we when we hear divine union, right? When Shakti meets Shiva, the feminine meets the masculine, right? The third eye being the masculine, they reunite. So over time, as that energy sort of gets into a flow, right? We start to get the fluid moving down through our down our throat, down to our GI tract, which further sort of transform the nervous system, right? It's all about the nervous system. When we look at things scientifically, it's fascinating, and so it's this can be done like directly or indirectly, like gradually or forcefully. So we can work on like balancing ourselves and our energy centers and cleansing our mind and making that pathway open slowly and gradually. But we can also do it more like forcefully, right? By stimulating it through things like breath work, right? Or like intense breath work, right? So we're pulling that prana through the spine, allowing for that opening of flow. So this is kind of like where the journey actually like begins, right? It's like the beginning, right? Where we can potentially fully open up our heart, open up the high heart so we access a greater degree of our 0 point. So it's an incredible, fascinating journey, and the more we learn about it and the more we understand what's happening, the less doubt we get, right? Like the more we can start trusting what's taking place. And that's a huge part of our journey is trusting in what in our path and what's taking place, because doubt is a big, game changer, right?
Mhm.
Doubt can override everything. So we can understand how the energy of bringing that in and expanding is extremely helpful on our journey, and it has been for me.
And working to, again, with the awareness that there's a light body that we're working with, that either through our nervous system regulation
Hmm.
or sometimes through practices that force an energy to run through, we become more aware through an activation that happens through a kundalini process or in other ways as well, as energies flowing through us.
Yeah.
Um, and what would allow us to maintain that light body at a higher tone, if you will? Because it's one thing to force something, but if you
Hmm.
can't really hold it, it's just going to drop right back.
Right. Exactly. Right. And that's that's where the nervous system comes in. That's why breath work is so been so beneficial for me, is you're really preparing the nervous system for enlightenment, because the sustaining of the light, the integration of the light, is the embodiment, and that's where the nervous system comes in. And the nervous system is actually depleted for the average person, right? And it's tricky, right? Because we have these places in our fields, right, that where we've stopped the flow of energy from trauma or whatever kind of trauma, micro traumas even. They run so deep, they sort of shape our personality, right? And so
Mhm.
we end up repeating and repeating and some things, so a lot many people would say, oh well, I had an easy childhood and my teenage years were great. We're not even aware, right? But as we start to grow into adulthood, we see there's certain limiting things, right? Certain limiting beliefs and patterns are formed. So if the nervous system is weak, it doesn't know how to deal with a situation, and it ends up blocking itself from feeling further to prevent damage, right? So it's sort of self-regulating system, but in a healthy way, right? The nervous system can regulate itself. So, if if you were to sit down somewhere and meditate, and say you were in a very noisy place, and you bring the average person there and ask them to experience peace, they will say that's impossible, right? Because the
Mm,
nervous system is triggered so much. So as the nervous system opens, increases its capacity, the less triggering you get, and it just starts to flow through you. And like you said, the bliss, that the love, the experiences are very fleeting for the most part. We get glimpses of them.
mhm.
We may feel unified, but then it kind of goes down back into the separation consciousness. And that's because those vibrations are so high, right? Those are higher vibrations. So it's like we kind of max out the nervous system. We max out the RPMs of our engine. We sort of burn out, right? And it has to go back because we can't handle that bandwidth of that amount of energy. It's not sustainable in our system. It's not sustainable in our
Not
normal
yet. Not yet.
awareness. Yes,
Not yet.
right.
Yeah.
So we can increase that nervous system capacity to handle that frequency. And we do that through a process, right? Like we have an experience, we have an increase of expansion of awareness. We have a new level of consciousness, and then we integrate. This is why the integration is so important. We have to stabilize that. And when we can, stabilize that in the nervous system through working with the nervous system, we can sustain that higher voltage, right? We can keep that level of embodiment, and live from that space, live from that being. So working with it and acknowledging and knowing and being aware when your nervous system is acting up, and the more you practice and work with it, the more you recognize what's taking place within you, and you
Mhm.
can realize that it's not personal. It's a physical reaction, and none of it is personal. You're perfect divine being having this experience, and we can start to work with it in a way where we're not identifying with it. And that's really the
Mhm.
key, is when we don't identify with what the nervous system's doing, we just acknowledge it as what happens to be moving through the body.
For
So
sure.
yeah, there's lots of tools and ways we can do that, but it's definitely a fast track of when you understand what's taking place in your body.
Well, we'll talk about some of those tools and we'll take some live callers in a little bit also so we can get into part of how you tune in and also
Mhm.
what facilitation is available to maintain and to keep expanding into it. We just had like one of the largest solar flares hit the Earth yesterday that's happened in the last, I don't know how many decades. It was huge and I definitely felt it. I was about to pass out. So there's a lot of things that are also environmentally influencing us in a big way right now that is kind of asking our light body to pop in ways that it hasn't before. It's all part of this new phase of creation that we're in as a
Mhm.
humanity. I really feel we're really at a crux at the next level of humanity's evolution. Um, and that goes in large part because of all the work that y'all have done consciously in spirit for the type of work that Avalina and I do to ground in these higher octaves to make it more sustainable for us to hold that consciousness so that we're preparing to expand into places that we've never traveled before, probably. So it's extraordinary. I really appreciate that you brought the nervous system in. And it's all an aspect of it. And it's a whole nother show. But in my experience, I've been surrounded by people who swore they had a Kundalini activation.
Mm-hmm.
And what they were really having was a nervous system reset.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a
Mm-hmm.
difference between the two. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter
Right.
because it's the experience that is happening. And we don't have to identify, oh my God, I had this Kundalini experience and it was this, this, and this, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The really important part is that the awareness that something is shifting and bringing consciousness to it allows us to ease the field so that we can allow for the integration to come in a way that we're not trying to outsource its integrity based on the power that we're trying to put words to that really can't be defined.
Mm. Yeah, it's allowing, right? We're just
Mhm.
allowing. We don't have to understand. We don't have to put words to any of it.
Yeah. Or I can't get my Kundalini activation. It's not
Yeah,
working. I don't know why it's not turning on. There's something wrong with me. It's like,
right.
no, there's nothing
It'll
wrong with
happen
you.
when it's ready to happen.
Mhm.
They say Kundalini does you. You don't do Kundalini.
I believe you're right, without question. Um, what are some of the what's some of the facilitation that you bring in as people get more familiar, or even if they're in a place where they're familiar with the light body expanding,
Hmm.
they're aware that Kundalini has been activated, but
Right.
still it's there's more available, right? No matter
Hmm.
where we
Always.
are,
Yeah.
there's that light body is still has the capacity for tremendous expansion. Um, what are some of the tools or processes that you bring in, um, Avalina, that would help to facilitate just th that next iteration of what we're ready to receive, but
Hmm.
somehow we're not breaking through the glass ceiling?
Right. Um, I like to work with the mental body. And because our mind is, when you can heal your mind, that's like one of the greatest forms of self love you can do, right? It's like, you know, to really like, ultimately what we're doing is we're opening our heart to the fullest, right? When we
Mhm.
become fully enlightened and we're in a fully rainbow body, right? So starting, and the thread that I see a lot in my work is the mind, right? The mind patterns, the judgments of self and the self-talk. And so if you can accept yourself, right? And this is an easy an easy thing to incorporate, is to the extent that you are no longer willing to tolerate a single unloving, disempowering, self-devaluating thought ever again. I refuse to allow another unloving thought to pass through my mind without immediately correcting it. Why? Because I love myself. I love my true and perfect self beyond anything else. So I'm no longer willing to tolerate unloving thoughts about myself. Game changer. It's a game
Mhm.
changer for everything because your circumstances, your emotion, right? Like working on emotional mastery is like the first thing we have to master, right? Because if we're getting locked up in emotions, then how are we gonna, you know, master the subtle thoughts, right?
Mhm.
So, um, I like to work a lot with that. So when we can understand our relationship to life in that way, you're really giving yourself the greatest peace, right? You're giving yourself the greatest sense of peace throughout your day, when you have an understanding of everything in your life is happening for you, right? So we're not at war with our reality and the relationship between our inner world and outer world, right? Because if we're going to collapse duality, and we're going to have to become aware of this relationship, right? We're going to have to start looking at every experience, every experience you have, every experience out there, everything we see out in the world, less like it's something separate thing from for you to move through that you're navigating through, and more like it's a playing field of consciousness that's here to teach us, to here to teach you something new every single moment. And we begin to see that it's that relationship that's important, how we relate to life, right? Because nothing is actually separate, right? As I become aware of my relationship to life, I begin to collapse the duality between my inner and outer worlds. And we have to build that spiritual muscle, which is one of the ways I like to practice and work with people, right? So we're making use of our experiences, we're building our awareness muscle, right? And we're building that crucial habit of seeing life as a catalyst for learning. And we realize that every moment of life, even the insignificant moments, has a possibility to expand our consciousness. The only question is, are we looking for it, right? Do we have
Mhm.
that devotion to look into the deeper layers behind why certain things are happening, and what distortions within you are being brought out of you by your life experiences from your higher self to be integrated, because your higher self simply brings you the experiences you need, and allows you to to choose, right? To choose whether you're going
Mhm.
to respond from oneness or separation, so as soon as we know that everything experience is serving our highest good, then we stop resisting. We stop
Mhm.
resisting any painful experience, any painful circumstance, and then we really start to make use of it. And this is tremendous and really accelerating someone's growth. And I've seen it and witnessed it in many people, and it's a beautiful thing.
It is beautiful. I love the way that you explained that. And it really goes to show y'all. We get so focused and we're so aware of what's happening outside of us. Who said what to whom, what they're holding, how they're acting, the energy towards us or just somebody else, their political opinion on stance on something that we're against, and we're outwardly focused
Yeah.
on those negative drivers. And how beautiful that that can be a reflection where a guide is like, ooh, hold on a second. Where am I doing that to myself or even in my mind or energetically towards someone else? And to actually, as a practice, y'all, simple practice, have a notepad with you or get your note on notepad on your phone. And anytime something demeaning comes that you share about yourself, don't receive a compliment. When you have an angry or judgmental thought about someone else in a particular way, write it down. Like keep track of those for like a week and be aware of what conversations are carrying your vessel because these are the words, the energies of what we are navigating in our reality, and it's of our own creation. And so
Mm-hmm.
when we become internally focused and familiar, rather than expecting the outside to be a certain way because that would make us feel safer, we have to create that safe haven within us and trust ourselves. It's like if a lot of times, if we had a best friend that talked to us the way that we talk to ourselves, it wouldn't be our best friend anymore.
I know.
Right? It's like, oh no.
Yeah, that's why I always tell you have to watch your self-talk, right? It's
Right.
so important. We always have an inner dialogue. And
But
if we're
keeping track of it.
identifying with our thoughts,
Yeah.
then that's where all your energy goes, right? And the thoughts and feelings we have correlate and correspond and create our reality, right? They
Mm.
they 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 form together and give a given frequency, and they alter your reality, your very own thoughts and feelings. So, that's how powerful they are, which means you hold this power.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I want to get into live Q&A
Okay.
here in a second. So if y'all have questions, raise your hand, type your questions into the chat box if it comes up. Um, I'd love it if you'd share, Evelina, how is it as a channel in a multidimensional guide. Um, what are you tuning into? What comes through? How is it like if someone asks you a question, how does that function specifically with someone working for you or
Mm.
with you?
Yeah, so for me, a lot of it is well, I'm very visual, and I mostly just get more of a knowing is definitely how I've experienced working with people. Um, yeah, so it varies, how I perceive. Yeah,
Are you galactically oriented? Is it ascended master energy? Is it a high level creator being energy? What come
I
or
don't
is
even
or do you even
go
know?
to
Yeah.
any of that. Um, I don't really tune in to that. I I like to. I mean, I in earlier in my years, I was channeling, and I would channel other consciousnesses and collectives, and I kind of got out of that because I really just wanted to stay in my lane. I
Hmm.
really just wanted to go connect with my higher self, connect with source, and just go straight. I just wanted to stay in my channel, right? Because I can access everything I need in my own channel. So when I work with someone else or in a group, I always go up my channel and then connect over to the other higher self and let their higher self sort of drop in my channel. But I always like to stay tune into source. Basically, is how I look
Hmm.
at it. I just go right there.
Beautiful. I
Yeah.
understand. I understand.
Yeah.
It's what do you receive for clients? Like how does it show up in that channel? It can be an array of things. It's
Well, usually, the people will come with an intention, right? And when someone starts opening up, right, and sometimes it takes a while to get someone to open up in a session, the energy becomes evident, right? And
Mhm.
so we can work with that. So it's not like I can just walk up and look at somebody's field and I see it, everything that's going on with them. Although sometimes that can happen, but generally that's not how it works for me. Um, Generally, there has to be like a mutual intention, of two people coming together, and then it's a shared experience. Um, and that's the way I like to do it. Other than that, I just kind of like, I don't really want to know everything, right? So I
Yeah.
just kind of stay in my channel.
And that's really beautiful for anybody who's is channeling or wanting to know to how to open up to be more proficient in that connection and translating it. I think what you're sharing, Evelyn, is really it's so wise and discerning and carries really high standards because it's one thing to be tuned into everything because
Hmm.
the sensitivity and some of the information that comes or experiences that come in, you probably do not want to experience. You just don't. Why would
And you
you?
don't need to, right?
And you
It's
don't
like
need to exactly.
we've all
So
been
to
there,
be
done it,
open to it for the novelty of it
Yeah.
really isn't worth it. So to come in with the intention
Hmm.
and then why is it that we want to receive? We want to make our life more comfortable and easier. Amazing. Do you want to serve other people? Okay, how and why? Um, and just really getting more clear. And a lot of it has to do also the clarity comes in as as you said earlier, learn how to regulate our nervous system in a way that can sustain an energy
Hmm.
for a transmission to come through and then it be translated in a way that can be received and hopefully healing as well for the person receiving it.
Right. Right. Beautifully well said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. All right, let's get into a little bit of Q&A. And Donna, you are on. If you can unmute your microphone, please.
Donna S. I'm hoping there's not two
Donna
Donnas.
S. It is you. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yay. I have uh, a very simple question. If you get anything around my soulmate or heartmate, I feel like I'm to the point in my life that I'm ready to just expand love, and my heart desires a partner.
Hmm. Well, funny that you should ask. What I'm gonna say is probably not what you want to hear, but what you're really looking for is, you know, here, right? So can you put your hand there for a moment? So what is it that you're desiring and asking for?
Mm.
What is it that your heart really is wanting?
The word that immediately comes up is acceptance, which
Mm-hmm.
is a surprise.
Mm-hmm. So you
That's not
have
what I
the answers.
expected.
You have the answers
Yeah.
if you allow yourself to get them. And what you're really wanting is self-love, peace, right? Because we're not actually going to get that from another person. So everyone out there is like, I want a partner. They're wanting something. It's that want energy. That doesn't feel good, does it? Like when we really want something, we're desiring something, it doesn't feel good. It's lacking, right? I want a partner. I want a partner. And we keep telling ourselves that, but let's really sink down what's underneath that. And really,
Mm.
it's the illusion of wanting a partner, right? And that we're going to get what we need from a partner. And that's never going to happen because then we're just, projecting onto that person to get what we want, right?
Hmm.
And really, all they are is a mirror. Whenever we're in a relationship, a deep, loving relationship with someone, think about the relationships that you've had in the past. When you meet someone, you fall madly in love, right? They're acting as a mirror, right? The love that you're
Mm.
feeling is because it was yours to begin with. It was inside you all along. You just gave yourself permission
Mm.
to feel it because you thought it was coming from that other person, right? But it's always coming from within you. So if you let that go, that need, that wanting, the desire, and can come into a great feeling of having all the love you need, that you're whole, you're not lacking anything, boom. That's when like option partners everywhere, like
Mhm.
the infinite abundance, right?
Yeah.
But we got to get to that place because you don't want to bring in a partner when you're in a sense of lack anyway, right? Because you're going to be a vibrational match to someone who's looking for the same thing.
Right. Right. Do you have practices or visuals that you use to help people increase that self-love or self-acceptance? Or because my mind says, I've come a long way and I feel like I really do accept and love myself. And I'm
Hmm.
at a place in my life that I feel like there is nothing that I truly need. I'm at peace and I have contentment beyond what I thought possible.
Hmm.
And I also believe that we can always increase love. Are there techniques that you have people use that can do that?
Um, well, I would say, you know, watching your self-talk, watching
Mm.
the subtle thoughts and throughout your day to day. Doesn't have to be anything big. It's the little things. It's the little
Mm.
things.
Hmm.
There's always more greater love, right, to be had. So, um, yeah, there's many things you can do, and to probably, I wouldn't be able to go into full depth of everything here, but um, really just watching what you're identifying as, watching if you're identifying
Mm.
as the thoughts, because it's not personal, right? You're the
Yeah.
awareness of those emotions and those thoughts, not those things. And so when we can come to that awareness, we start to neutralize anything that's not of love, right?
Mm.
Hmm. And the special offer and environments and setting the field in an environment that helps you hold that field for a higher awareness. And by higher, it means that we're not resonating with the limiting beliefs. We're not resonating with the scarcity, right? We're resonating into possibilities that exist that we were blinded to, perhaps for whatever reason. And so we're going to get into a special offer in a little bit because Evelina is offering well, one-on-one, and then some gatherings in community and where she's going to transmit, hold the field, and I'm sure share more of the tools is going to be amazing. Carrie, I want to get to you in a second. It's Don, I want to play with you for a second also because I'm going to give you all I'm curious what your answer is going to be because this is simple, but I'm going to call this really high level understanding. Um, why do you want a partner?
Mm. The image that comes to mind, and again, going back to what my heart desires, is um, almost a playmate, someone to just travel and have fun and experience it. Again, I'm at a place that I have freedom and I want to just play and increase joy and just laugh and have fun.
So,
I
so
mean, it's that simple.
you're looking for someone to bring play to you. You're looking for someone to bring
Yeah,
fun for you and joy for you. Amazing.
yeah.
Can you understand how selfish that is that we're wanting someone to provide that for us? It's like going to a job interview and say, I want you to give me this money, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to give to you. And what if we approach the
Not
relationship?
to provide,
I understand,
not to provide, but to share.
but they're being the source. Share, you're halfway there. So understanding what you're bringing, when you're ready for partnership at the highest level of that love is what can I give to this other person in love rather than what I'm hoping to receive? What am I
Yeah,
prepared to give? I want to be in partnership because I am so full of this joy and so full of playful energy that I want to share it with
yeah,
someone that's aligned with me. And
yeah,
understanding the energetic differences of those either create a really narrow portal of creation or one that opens wide because now we're giving from an overflowing cup rather than one that's dripping in scarcity. And so understand your worth. Like Evelina said, you're filling that within yourself. And as you do that, your capacity to illuminate that for the field to receive you becomes so much greater.
yeah, yeah. I feel like I have a lot to give, and
Awesome. Keep
my community, just friends and community around me has just been exploding. It's mind blowing, and
there you
I
go.
just it's reciprocated, but it's really that partner to share it with, and
To give
walk the
it
path
to,
together,
to give that
and
abundance to,
yes,
to give that
because
abundance
that is
to.
what fills my heart, and the
There you go.
neighbors that I've met, people that are moving in. I mean, it's not just the neighbors that have been here are wonderful, but people
It's
are moving in, and it's blowing my
it
mind
sounds like
that
you're abundant. Keep flowing with that abundance, Donna. Thank you so much.
yeah,
It's great to have you on here.
thank
Uh,
you.
of course, of course. Carrie, welcome to the call. Welcome.
Hey y'all, sorry, my puppy dog was running around being really loud, so I was like, I need to go get a treat for them real quick. So
It's okay.
just go ahead.
I only get dizzy after about 15 seconds, so I think we're still good.
I'm sorry. Um, hold on a second. So I was gonna ask, if so I think the main thing for me is my nervous system and my adrenals. I just like right now, like it's kicking in so quickly. And I'm just wondering if that is like old energy that's kind of stuck in my system, or if it's something that may be stuck in like my fascia tissue. I mean, I don't really know where this energy is coming from, but sometimes I'll get like that and I'll just kind of walk around in circles and I feel like it's just it's taking over, if that makes sense. Like
That was
right,
me. That was me today
right?
in circles. Absolutely 100%.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Mhm.
So, and yeah, I just kind of want to work on that a little bit, but I don't, like I said, I don't know if you can see into my field, if there's something that's kind of hanging over me, or if there's something that I could do about it to help calm myself a little bit
Mhm.
quicker, you know?
Well, Yeah, you can definitely calm yourself quicker, but I'll ask you, what is taking place when that happens?
Like right now, Clara's triggering me because she's barking, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I'm kind of out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be part of that.
Yeah. So if you can just close your eyes and take a deep breath, take a deep breath into your heart, take another deep breath, inhale more, keep inhaling, filling up, filling up, filling up, all the way up, topping off, topping off. Now let it go and just allow yourself to melt on that exhale. You feel the softening that just took place.
Yeah.
Simple. Keep it simple. Don't be judgmental of yourself or what's happening. We all have things we came in with. We all have, spots in our field in our physical body where we're holding tension. Don't,
Mm,
compassion for yourself. The softer you can be on yourself,
mm.
the easier and the more grace and ease you'll move through it.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah, and just
don't know.
allow yourself to work through the layers of it. You don't need to necessarily know and understand it. Like that's our mind, right? Our mind wants to know, right?
Yeah,
It's just energy. We don't have to identify it. Sometimes it's better we don't, we if we
Mhm.
label it, then we start identifying it. We're like, "Oh, I have this. I have this." It's just energy. It's not personal. I'm just going to work through it and then allow it to dissolve.
Mm. I
yeah,
really appreciate you bringing this up, Carrie. I really feel like the solar flares that have sparked have been triggering a lot. But even if it's not that, even if it was something else and we can identify it with, what Avalina so beautifully explained to us earlier is that we're going through a nervous system adjustments and reintegration and embodying in something new. So whenever I feel these things also, sometimes I can identify and sometimes I can't. And again, these solar flares it's like I've been running in circles today.
yeah,
I've been zero productive, but I've done so much at the same time.
right.
Um, I am aware that whatever is happening in my nervous system being sped up in this particular way, based
Mhm.
on my individual journey and how I know myself, is that my nervous system is attuning to hold something in a way that I haven't been able to hold it before. And so sometimes we want to be quick to get out of that anxious, kind of nervous type of spinning type of energy.
Yeah,
Um, and other times guidance says, you're navigating this. And it's like, just breathe. You don't have to know because you're learning how to hold in that altitude and the viscosity of that energy in a way that you haven't before. So we
yeah,
don't, like Evelina says, we don't always have to have a reason, but just understand. I think for me, it's understand yourself. I
yeah,
understand myself. And the more I understand myself and what triggers me, what functions, it's like, oh, it's a money thing. No wonder I'm worried. It's like, okay. It's like I know why I'm triggered. Or it's a relationship thing. Or it's like, I don't know what, oh, it's energy, it's expansion. Um, knowing ourselves is going to be the biggest guide and being able to tune in. And I have resources like Avalina and so many other speakers on the show that I can call. It's like, what the hell's happening? Um, and they'll help to center me also. So it's beautiful that it doesn't have to be a solo journey, but it's also beautiful that we get to hold ourselves in our own light and be aware that we're expanding and growing through all of it, not deteriorating necessarily.
yeah. I agree. It's a very hypersensitive, John, is what I feel like, especially what's been going on. And I've had nosebleeds. I've had all kinds of physical things happen with these flares and everything. I'm very sensitive to electronics and different stuff like that. But it's just so I'm so hypersensitive. And I'm like, I need to figure out how to regulate. But like you said, we're moving through that. So it's like it's adjusting as we go. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Evelina, is there a way that you guide people into becoming more clear of how they're tuning into themselves so they can help translate that information so it can serve them a little bit better?
Mm. Yeah, I usually do that during sessions, and
Mm,
lots of times it's amazing how you can assist somebody in getting their own information.
mhm.
It's and you know, we, like I said, we all have access to it. So just being sharing the field together is an opening for the other person to get their own information.
Yeah, beautiful. And the clearer the field of the one that you're sharing with, the better, by the way.
Yeah,
By the way,
I
it
agree.
certainly helps. Not that it always has to be, but it's definitely
Yeah.
useful. Um, Carrie,
Yeah.
thanks so much
Because
for
it's a
coming on.
mirror,
And
right? We're all
yeah,
mirrors.
we're all
Thank you
mirrors.
guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. You've got this. You'll be fine. I promise. Um,
Thanks.
we've got some more people with the hands raised, some questions that are coming in. Also, I want to get to us in a little bit. But y'all, let's go into a special offer. There's an opportunity to go deep with Evelina in a one-on-one session. There's a succession of gatherings that are happening as well. And it's the first time for Avalina to be on BTO, so this is special that we get to participate in this type of special offer. You can find the link for it underneath the video where you're watching the call from. The link's also in the chat box, and you can always find the special offers on beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. And Avalina, let everybody know the opportunities that they have to work with you.
Yeah, so I'm going to be putting together a container, a 3 week uh, container designed to really ignite, right, our templates. And it's going to be a massive opportunity to release and embody and really harness the potential of moving forward in the fast lane here, right? So we're going to dive into some potent meditative transmissions of light and sound and plasma combined with powerful holotropic breath work. We're going to be focusing on dissolving and clearing layers of the separation, the distortion, the limitation that have been accumulated over lifetimes, right? And each week we're going to have an energy clearing that will allow for, you know, some upgrades of our architecture, harmonizing our fields, you know, down regulating the nervous system, and we'll start to begin to feel and participate and witness the dissolving of programs and how they've been interfacing our nervous system and our emotional body and how we react versus respond to life and so on. So there's going to be a lot of different levels of healing and clearing taking place. And the breath work is really going to support this process, right? By helping release stored emotional blockages from the physical body, right? And it's going to allow us to open and receive these higher frequencies and transmissions more fully, right? By allowing you to access, you know, higher states of consciousness, right? When we go into breath work, sometimes even DMT can be released, right? And
It's
we're able,
psychoactive for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
we can move through deeper layers of inner healing and resurrection, right? So it's one of the ways to really, you know, get greater clarity and a broader bandwidth of awareness, right? When we're connecting with the breath, right? It's the first elemental pure source consciousness that, you know, helped us take the spark of life, right? When we came into the womb and out of the birth canal, we took a breath, right? And the breath takes us back to all the layers and levels and depths of our divine blueprint. So we drop into our hearts and we take that breath and we wait for the directing of our intention, right? And we become this grand alchemist, right? So we'll be engaging in a lot of breath, and you know, when you're in the breath, you're thrusting yourself in the present moment, and infinite possibilities are there. So we're going to be moving a lot of energy. Feelings may arise, unprocessed feelings may come, you know, that are locked in our neuromuscular system, that is taking up space, you know, and it requires a lot of energy to keep them submerged, right? So as we start to move and unlock these densities, you know, you may have strong emotional releases during breath work, right? So we're going into deep cellular purification. And yeah, and you'll notice many things will start to begin to unravel, right? Even when you're not participating in the breath work, there's a continuation of the work that's being done, and you may not even notice that it's because of the breath work, because it'll be gentle throughout your day to day as you start to become more sensitive to any sort of disharmony that's in your field, right? So each session we're going to be going in intentionally and transforming and dissolving what's in our way of remembering who we truly are. So this is one of my favorite things to do is to have these containers of breath and have a group. And yeah, the energy that comes through is for whoever shows up. I don't necessarily know exactly what's going to come through, but as the collective of who signs up, all their higher selves,
Mm.
will sort of dictate what the facilitation of the transmission, so to speak. So it'll be lots of fun. It'll be a lot of work, and it'll be very transformative. And if
Mhm.
you want, you can sign up for a private session for support of that as well.
There's the private sessions that are available as package B. How
Mm.
long is the one-on-one session?
I think I usually go like an hour,
Okay.
45 minutes to an hour.
Okay, so at 45 minutes an hour session.
Mhm.
It depends on what's coming through and what's
Yeah,
available.
yeah.
Um, and so the package A are the group calls, um, the three weekly calls, and this will get into obviously activating the light body as well, which is what we
Mhm.
came into the call with, right?
Right.
So there are transmission arcs of DNA activations, channeled energy transmissions, and the breath work to the breath work is huge. I love that you're
Yeah.
bringing that in. It works on so many levels. Um, it's profound. So, package A, the dates of that are February 11th, 18th, and the 25th. Uh, there's Zoom calls. They're about an hour and 15 minutes each, about, live calls. How those go. I'm sure all the calls are recorded if someone can't join live, right, Evelina?
Yes. And
So
there'll
all
be
those are
time for Q&A at the end of each call as well.
fantastic.
Mhm.
And then with package B, if you want to include the one-on-one session, that is $222, and there's a two payment option on that as well. What excites you about doing one-on-one sessions, Evelina?
I love the one-on-one sessions because you can really move through a lot when it's one-on-one. And yeah, there's just so much revealed. There's so much of ahas, and it really lights me up when I
Mhm.
I see people, you know, getting the wisdom that coming in and the revelations. Um, so yeah, it's I really shine in my private sessions, I'll say.
Amazing. My private session with you was awesome.
Mm,
I just remembered the alignment and what was coming through, and there was an access to the energy and kind of like a meeting there vibrationally that just provided an opening for more clarity. But what I really felt was the simplicity of what
mhm.
was being shared and how that simplicity really can be such a huge catalyst
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny
for.
that you say that because sometimes like people will come with an intention, and then as soon as they get on the call, like, well, I don't really care about that anymore. Like, soon as they're like, well, I
Uh-huh.
thought I was just wondering, but I don't care about that because it's just, there's the shared space, and it's like, wow, I don't even need that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. Amazing what comes through. Y'all, it's another gift from beyond the ordinary to have incredible access to these guides and leaders and teachers and embodied way showers, which is what I insist on beyond the ordinary. Those are embodied who are sharing with other people. Um, what is available because it's in walking that path that you can really teach others.
Mm.
And again, an opportunity to do that with Avalina. The special offer link is in the chat box. It's underneath the video, either live or on the replay. If you're on YouTube, you'll also find the link for the special offer in the comments section. So I hope y'all take advantage of it and oh, amazing. Have fun in the workshop and in your personal session if you choose to do that. Um, all right, Evelina, let's go back into some of the callers and some of the questions that were coming in. Um, and as I pick up another question that's coming in, I think there's a few people with their hands raised. I'll have to double check that. I wanted, I was wondering if you can go back a little bit back into the light body, the Kundalini, and how it also relates to our chakras, and
Mm,
why is it important, or does it help to understand the distinction of how they relate to one another and how they each function separately?
mm-hmm. Um, well, ultimately, we become one unified, right? Like the heart shot, it's one unified field. So initially, most of the density we hold is particularly in the lower three chakras, but I don't typically focus too much on my day to day and my own journey. I don't really focus too much on an individual chakra. Sometimes in a session, I can, feel and sense what, the blockage there, and we'll work on that area. Um, but the Kundalini is gonna flow where it can, right? So
Mhm.
we don't actually have to do anything there, right? So that energy is gonna flow regardless. So it's almost like we don't really need to worry about it. We don't really need to think about it. We just need to focus on the clearing, and helping, move the breath, helping move the energy, right? Helping it move. And I mean, there's circulating the breath, right? The cosmic orbit breath is a very powerful one to ignite that kundalini and really
Mhm.
get it flowing. Um, so yeah, I mean, it moves through the chakras, but I tend to look at it as a whole, and I don't worry about the details, right? I don't need
Mhm.
to know the details, right? So yeah, I just keep it simple.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, let's go to questions now. We had Christine that wrote in. Um, I'm curious if you read this way, but let's start out this. So Christine's saying, "Hi, I am moving to California. I'm in California and I'm being told to move. I have no idea where to go. My vibration is very high. I am whole. I am looking for like-minded people.
Hmm.
Anything
So,
you can share in reference to that you
mm,
might be tuning into?" And I guess the question is about where to go because everything else is really just a statement.
yeah. Well, the way I work is obviously I'm not going to tell somebody where to go. And neither would your higher self unless, it's like you're meant to be in a certain area. So I would put out the intention of where it is that I want to, what is it that I'm searching for? I'm searching for community, I'm searching for connection, and then allow the signs to come. Because the most empowering thing for you is for you to come to the answer, right? Like if we're climbing Mount Everest and we take a helicopter ride to the top, then what's the point, right?
Mhm.
So when I moved, for example, to when I was out in California and I was moving and I didn't know where to go, I said to the universe, I was like sitting in my car, I was like, just show me. I need a sign. Show me. Give me a sign. And within 5 minutes, I walked into a store and someone was wearing a sweatshirt with the city on it, and someone was like, "Oh, I've been there. That's a great place." And it was one of the places I had been considering. And I thought,
Mhm.
wow, I was like, could it really happen that quick? I was like, I need confirmation. I need confirmation. And literally a minute later, someone else walks in. Oh my God, the same thing repeated over.
Mhm.
And I get that all the time. Anytime I'm trying to make a decision on something, where do I need to go? How do I do this? the answer comes if we're listening. So it's putting out the intention, asking your higher self to show you. That's going to be the most empowering, because when you come up with that yourself, wow, right? Like the trust level. And that's the whole point of this, right? Is we're building trust. We're building trust within ourselves. You have the answer. You know the answer. Trust that you're going to get it.
Hmm. Christine's on. Did you want to share something else, Christine? I don't know how you got
Well,
on live because I didn't promote you as panelist, so I'm
oh,
befuddled.
I got a message and it said, we want you to be panelist. And I just
Amazing.
said
Okay,
yes.
cool.
And
No,
here
that's
I
great.
am.
I was
Wow.
surprised. I was like, how did that happen?
uh, part of the thing with me is that I no longer am confined by time or space, my past or future. There's no time constraints. There's no ego. Um, I've died to self, and I've been told that I'm a lighthouse or a bridge for others, yet they can't see me or hear me. I even ran into the group in Mount Shasta that does a lot of work on the earth. And I think, John, you were there with that group, and none of you saw me. And I was standing right in front of you guys going, hey, I'm here to help. It was the strangest, oddest thing I've ever had happen. And I don't know why it happened or how. And I'm just kind of befuddled by it. I've
Mm.
had Acturians talk to me about joining them. I've had others, angels. I guess I am an earth angel, but I don't know enough about these different things to know what to do with them. And like I said, when I run into people in person, it's like they see right through me. And I've been activating or ascending for over 2 years now. I've gone through the cocooning stage and all of this other stuff. And I'm just wondering, am I on a different plane now that people aren't seeing me or hearing me? I mean, I'm not. I think I just really wanted to talk to you, and that's how I got in. But I really don't understand any of this. I'm just
Let's see what Evelina's bringing in, what
Mm.
she's picking
yeah.
up here.
What are you getting?
Well, remember that our reality is a mirror, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if people aren't seeing you, then what is missing here?
Well, when they do see me, they turn and run.
Hmm.
And I've been a very damaged person, and I've
But that's
healed
not what Avalina
myself.
asked you. Avalina asked you what's missing, not
What's
the
missing?
reaction. What's
Hmm.
missing here?
What's missing?
Reality is a mirror.
I'm whole. I don't know what's missing. When I
Hmm.
say I'm whole, I'm whole. I'm not fragmented. I'm not like a donut with a piece missing. So when you ask me
Hmm.
what's missing and I look at myself, everything's here. So I don't
Hmm.
know what would be.
Well,
Well,
I'm gonna be a little devil's advocate before Alina chimes in.
Yes.
Love, if you were whole, you wouldn't be seeking where to move. You'd be perfectly fine where you were and wherever the next place would happen to be as well. None of us are completely whole in that way because there's we're being guided and illuminated into different experiences in this human body, um, based on some type of agreement that we made with God or a soul or collective. Who knows for the sake of the innocence of this conversation. So let's pretend for a second that you're not whole, and let's see what Aunt Avelina might present to you.
Okay, that works for me. I'm game. So whatever.
yeah. Well, I think what I'll piggyback on what John is saying is that, it's humility that brings in grace,
Hmm.
right? It's humility that brings in grace.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not be at war with our reality and allow your circumstances to show you, right? Instead of fighting, people aren't seeing me. Why don't you turn that mirror inward and say, well, what is it about me that I'm allowing this to happen? Why am I projecting this into my field? Let's start with self-inquiry.
Okay.
So drop out of your mind, right? You're in your thinking mind. Your
Mm-hmm.
mind is going, and just breathe into your heart. Breathe into your heart. Take a deep breath into your heart. Let your
Yeah.
mind go. You can start with forgiving yourself and the situations of people not seeing you because that hurts, right? That's painful.
No, it's not. But okay,
Hmm.
I'm going with you. I understand what you're saying. Keep going.
So breathe it, close your eyes and breathe into your heart. What does your heart tell you?
That I'm
That you're
humble.
okay?
I'm at your service. It's just that I don't think people are ready for me.
Well, let's drop out of the thinking mind that you need to do anything.
Okay.
You don't need to do anything. You just need to be.
Okay.
Stop worrying about what, your path of service, what needs to happen, what I should do, what I shouldn't do. That's all your mind. And your nervous system is a little ramped up right now because you're having a hard time centering yourself in your heart, right?
Well, I do feel shaky.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Internally, I do feel
Yeah.
shaky, but I've been like that for a while because we have a lot of seismic activity going on. We've got solar flares coming in. Um, I could go on and on about the stuff that's
Oh,
going
no, you don't
on
have to. Yeah, we get
on
the
the earth.
gist.
So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. So I'm just trying to connect with I think there are a lot of us out there that we're just trying to connect with each other and we're having trouble making the connections.
Well, I would disagree. I don't have that issue, and I don't know anyone else in my awareness that has that issue, right?
Hmm.
So, who's creating that belief system? Who's creating that belief system?
Okay, I guess I would be because
Right.
it's
So,
the
we want
interaction I'm
to,
getting.
mhm.
Okay.
We want to use a lot of discernment about
Hmm.
what it is that we're thinking.
Well, it's
What are we allowing ourselves to buy into, right?
consciousness. My consciousness is I have higher consciousness.
We all have
Animals
higher
come
consciousness.
animals have come to me, but they don't have the consciousness. They don't have conscience like we do.
Mm.
So,
Yeah,
but I
and this
think
may
just
be better suited for a deep dive in a session. I
okay.
do want to wrap it up. I don't want to
Okay,
leave it
so
hanging,
sorry.
but I want to make sure that we're not going into private session mode while we're
Sorry,
in a group
sorry.
call with everybody. No, no need to apologize. It's up to me to j just gather us back a little bit. Uh, Evelina, what would be something that you can offer that Christine or anybody else that may be feeling or experiencing something similar could work as far as embodiment and an awareness of a more innocent communication from heart that would help with the nervous system and bring in facilitate perhaps a little more clarity than what's present.
Hmm. Um, I always like to work with our emotions and what it is that we're identifying with. And it is the simplest way to learn discernment. And what you're looking at um, is how to discern, right? How to discern what is
Mm.
truth, what is truth, and the thoughts that I need to do something, I need to go somewhere, I need to meet my community, I need my divine partner, I need this, I should be doing this. None of that feels good, right? So when we're thinking thoughts that make us contract, right? That's a signal, right? Because our emotions are a signal. When we feel our thoughts, they're a signal of whether our thinking mind, our perception is in alignment with source. Because when we think thoughts that are in alignment with our higher self, we feel good. It feels good to be in alignment with our higher self. And source sees itself, right? Sees itself as a perfect, loving self, right? So when we have thoughts that are not in alignment with that, they don't feel good. So we can distill things down very simply of how are we feeling when I'm going on this thread of thought? Because if it doesn't feel good, then it's a message from my higher self that my line of thinking does not compute with higher self, does not compute with source. I'm not in alignment with source. So I can let that go. I
Mm.
can let that go, and I can
Okay.
trust that my higher self, the reflection of the mirror that I live in, this reality, is going to show me and bring me exactly what I need. It may not be what I want in the moment, but it's going to bring
It
me
may be even better.
exactly, because we can't even comprehend what is in the highest and best for us. Maybe there's something way beyond what we've ever imagined that better for us. We have to trust. If we're needing, wanting, we're trying to control.
Mm.
We're trying to control. Let go of the control. Let go, just surrender to what's in your life right now. What's in front of you right now? Because if we're looking and looking over here and over here, I need to do this, we're not seeing what's right here. We're missing all of it. We're missing the present moment. And that's the
Mm.
most powerful thing you can do for yourself is just become present and accept what's here and right now. So simple. It's so simple, it's almost laughable. And but yet we have the hardest time, right? We wanna,
Right.
I want to do this and I'm supposed to do this and da, 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 and this is my future, blah, blah, blah. No, it's all right here. It's all right here.
Avalina, it's challenging, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Christine, you can probably relate. Um, as an extreme empath and very sensitive and energetically really attuned, and we can say more because I've unveiled even more of those layers of that wholeness coming back home to myself as I've healed different
Mhm.
parts of myself, as I reframe limiting beliefs into truths that are more accurate than what was perceived based on my experiences and how I was taught them. That in that place, it's like you can feel something coming and you know it's supposed to move and it's like it feels so strong, the pull,
Mhm.
but it's not, the needle isn't moving yet. And that's really an attunement into a nervous system reset. We don't always have to be in response. That's an attunement also. It's just because you can perceive it doesn't mean that it's the timing is happening immediately. And so to be aware, because we feel and see something, the manifestation of that isn't necessarily in our ego's time clock. It's on the divine path that as you resonate higher, as you become more whole, you become more aware and we get into a deeper practice of surrendering to that divine will rather than trying to control by free will. Big difference. And so it's actually an acknowledgement for so many of us that are very psychically inclined and attuned that way. It's like, Oh, it's a practice in my nervous system regulation. It's a practice of not having to do. But like Avalina, the signs will show up in a t-shirt or in someone else mentioning it. God knows that has happened to me over and over and over again. I have an opportunity that I'm working on now that I saw 10 years ago, and it's finally kind of starting to land right now. But God, it's been a ride, right? Can you relate
Hey,
to that, Evelina?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's I there's things I've seen way back when and I dismissed and I'm like, wow, they really come for full circle.
Mhm. Yeah, so your guidance was just perfect and spot on. And Christine, I could even feel like a this exhale in
Mhm.
you as well by being in that field. Thanks for coming on, love. And I know and trust that you're going to be
yeah,
exactly where you're supposed to be.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry I didn't get the connection with you. It's like I said, it's kind of strange. It's like I'm not
I
quite
trust it. We trust it all.
connected
Yeah, yeah.
with
It's like, all
this.
right,
Yeah, like
let go and surrender.
okay,
Thank you, Christine.
I surrender. You know, you're the man.
Yeah, and
Love
you're the
your
woman.
I just, it's just amazing everything I've been going through. And I figured if as many people as you know, you would be able to probably bring me more toward the direction that I need to go to.
Look, it just happened out there, an invitation to come on the show so you can realize what's alive in you. Just
Yeah.
because someone else can reflect it back to you in a
Yeah.
way that we can't always see ourselves. So we're all walking each other home in different ways into that
Mhm.
illumination. So
Very,
Beautiful. Amen.
blessings, Christine. Thank you for coming
thank
on.
you. Thank you.
So y'all, the special offer of Evelina, that's definitely going into the one-on-one session. I can tell it lights you up, Evelina. It's just like, oh yeah, it's good. But again, you have the three gatherings as well that are available.
Mhm.
The link for the special offer is in the chat box. It's underneath the video where you're watching, and the YouTube page. It's in the comment section. Definitely take advantage of that. Um, Avelina, what are you excited about? What are you reading in the field as potentials with a probability of actualizing that has got you motivated, perhaps in a way that is coming alive now?
Um, I see, and I've been feeling this for a while. Um, this year and next year are just going to be the most amazing years yet. I see a lot of shifting happening in 2027, and I'm already feeling it within myself. And I've never been so inspired in my
Mm,
journey than I am right now. I've never been so optimistic than I am right now. Just beautiful, beautiful things taking place. And it may not seem beautiful for everyone, but there's beauty in all, right? There's beauty in all things. But there's just so much energy and light coming in, and I know we can all feel it. Um, so yeah, I just feel like there's just so much on the horizon.
mm,
In the next, this year, we're going to really start to um, witness the changes in our collective more so. And yeah, it's just such a great time to be alive.
mhm.
What a gift.
Yeah, as you're
What
sharing
a
that,
gift.
what I'm feeling from you, and it very much aligns in my experience of what's culminating and what we're expanding into as well is yes, these we can feel the expansions and the opportunities and we felt them before, but before they felt a little out of body, a little like you couldn't quite grab them, or they were forming, but they weren't necessarily. We can feel them kind of landing. We're hoping that they would, but the way that you're describing it feels very grounding. It's very
Hmm.
grounded. It's like
It's
it's
real.
yeah,
It's
it's real.
real.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's like it's done. Like it's done. It's already written. We just have
Mm,
to experience it.
nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I know that you're going to share with community how to open up to experience and ground it and put it
Hmm.
into motion.
Yeah.
And again, the light body activations, the DNA calibrations, the holotropic breath work to
Hmm.
help with that embodiment and awareness of what's running through
Yeah.
us as well. Um, is all part of that. So amazing.
Right.
Thank you for what you've put together for us and for being on the
Yeah.
call today.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And thanks for everyone for joining live and for your questions. It's beautiful to connect with everyone.
Thank you, Evelyn. And thank you to all of you who are listening on the call, watching on the replay as well. It's an honor to be able to have these gatherings with you. And you're a big part of this community and why and what we get to share here. So I bow down to you in gratitude and in namaste. See you on the next call.